If you're thinking of buying a home in Oakland, make sure you check the sidewalks out front. Why does that matter? Stay tuned, I've got that information for you coming right now. Hi everyone, I'm Simone Kogo with That East Bay Life. I am a real estate agent here in the San Francisco Bay Area. I live and work in the East Bay, serving Oakland, Berkeley, and surrounding communities. Today, we're going to be talking about sidewalks and why they are important when buying a house in Oakland. First, some general information and context. As a homeowner, you are responsible for the sidewalk in front of your house. Now, the city of Oakland has certain requirements for how sidewalks are maintained to make sure that they are accessible and safe for everyone. Now, they have had some difficulty in enforcing the maintenance of these sidewalks over the years, and many of Oakland sidewalks are under pretty bad disrepair. So they decided to institute something called a point of sale ordinance to take care of this issue. So what is a point of sale ordinance? It's pretty simple. Basically, it's a requirement that the local government puts on a home for when it transfers. So anytime a house sells, this requirement gets triggered. You may remember us discussing point of sale ordinances when we talked about sewer laterals in the East Bay. It's a pretty common point of sale ordinance. This new one by the city of Oakland began in 2019. So now, whenever a home sells in Oakland, it's subject to the sidewalk ordinance. Now, what is the city looking for? What's the requirement that they have? They want to make sure that the sidewalks are accessible and safe and that they don't have any defects. They basically define a defect as a horizontal or vertical crack of more than 1/4 inch. So if you've got large divots, large cracks, or if you've got a lot of uneven slab, that's going to be out of compliance. And in order to get into compliance, you're going to need to make sure that it's all smooth and ready to go. So what are your options? Well, if your sidewalk is already in perfect repair, there's really not much to do except hire a contractor. The city of Oakland requires a licensed contractor that holds a license within the city of Oakland to submit a report and some photographs and an application, basically saying everything's level, nothing is needed, property is good to go. When they do that, they'll submit an $80 or so application fee. You get a compliance certificate. Usually it's like a same day over-the-counter certificate, and you're all set. You can proceed with your sale without any issues. The problems come when you do have some defects that need to be corrected. You could hire that same contractor, or any contractor basically, to take care of the work and make sure that it's level everywhere, then go to the city with your compliance certificate. But depending on how much frontage you have, how much sidewalk there is in front of your house, it could be pretty costly. And similar to the sewer lateral program, a lot of home sellers don't want to pay for their sidewalks to be improved for the next owner. So similar to the sewer lateral program, the city has created a way where the sellers can pass on these costs to the buyers if they're willing. Now, everything is always negotiable in real estate, but in a seller's market, which we've seen a lot of recently, it's typical for a buyer to assume the cost of repair. Now, as a buyer, you're probably not going to want to put in a few $1,000s to repair a sidewalk when you haven't actually closed on the home yet. So how do you navigate who pays for what before the closing and after the closing? Luckily, the city has basically given us a provisional certificate. That is a 90-day certificate that allows a little bit of extra time after the close of escrow where the buyer can then take care of the repair work. So if you are a buyer in Oakland considering the purchase of a house, make sure that you look at the sidewalks. Do they look like they're going to be in compliance? If they do they already have a certificate so that you know that you're good to go? And if not, how much is it going to cost? It's not unusual for a seller to provide a quote from a local contractor within the disclosure package so that buyers can look at it, kind of assume what it's likely to cost to repair the sidewalks. And then once they've closed, or during the escrow, they'll pay the $80 to get a provisional certificate that gives them 90 days after the close. Then they can turn around, do the work, sign off on the compliance certificate, and be good to go. That's a compliance certificate is good for 5 years, so if you sell within that period of time, you can include that in your disclosure packages so your future buyer doesn't have to worry about it. Of course, after 5 years, the city wants to recertify and make sure that nothing major has happened to that sidewalk since then. So if you've been thinking about buying a home in the East Bay, make sure you reach out to a qualified real estate agent. I would be happy to talk to you about how to make sure you're planning appropriately for that first home in Oakland. All right, I'll see you guys next time.